the Policy Council gives the Servant Leadership Award to an individual who has demonstrated deep commitment to serving others and protecting the institution of the family. This award is unique because it's given usually to people that you've never heard of, people that are not seeking the limelight, people that are faithful every day, every week, serving, giving, passionate about the things that are most important. As the former and founding chairman of our board, Ray and Mary Berryman have both faithfully served our organization since its founding 5 years ago. Ray Berryman is an extremely accomplished professional engineer. He created and built the Berryman and Haniger National Engineering Company with over 600 offices worldwide in over 120 countries. But tonight, all of his professional stats are in the bio. What's really important about him is what we can say, that we really can't say in a bio per se. And that is some things that are less tangible, but still of great eternal significance. The thing I like most about Ray Berryman, he's a cultural activist, but he has a profound and deep passion for the gospel of Jesus Christ. And this should be a model for Christian activism for all of us, because if we fight the battle and we forget that we ultimately, the war is the hearts and souls of men and women, lost men and women that need the gospel. That is the ultimate battle, and he puts both those things together so wonderfully. As a young man, Ray helped to fight communism and socialism, and he led movements to that end. And it was within those battles he was challenged and actually converted to Christ, and his life and his thinking was radically changed. He's had a passion for culture and policy to see our state and our country repent and turn to God and turn to the principles that have made us great. Ray and Mary Berryman have been involved with hundreds, perhaps even thousands of projects that I'm not even aware of them all, really too numerous to mention, which have been a major force around the world in evangelism and cultural reform. They have both directly and indirectly touched the lives of literally millions of people who will never know of their kindness, who will never know of their generosity, and will never know of their passion. Ray and Mary, we are deeply moved by your humility, by your character, and your example as a servant leader. Scott.
Ray Berryman has been a servant leader in my life. Not long after I met, Ray came to me and said, "Scott, how many people have you personally led to Jesus Christ?" And of course, like some of you, it wasn't very many. And so Ray said, "Scott, if you come with me on a mission trip with an organization called E3, you will lead 10 people to Christ every day." And I couldn't believe it. And I went on that trip. And in a week's time, we saw hundreds of people come to Christ. And that would be a tremendous victory, and it was a tremendous victory, but that was the end, would be quite something, but it wasn't the end. Ray and Mary Berryman have been on over 100 mission trips since he's retired. One that stands out is he went to Burundi, and in Burundi, it was right next to war-torn Rwanda. Very humble area, very difficult area. And Ray was traveling with the pastor. They're doing door-to-door evangelism. He's sharing his testimony. And as Ray went down the street, they came by a bar. And Ray looked in there and said, "That's where the people are." He told the pastor, he said, "That's where we need to go." And of course, the pastor was thinking, that's probably not a good idea. But Ray went in anyways. And when he went in there, he asked them to turn the music down. They turned the music off. Ray shared his testimony about the life-saving gospel of Jesus Christ. When he finished his testimony, he asked if anybody there wanted to give their life to Christ. As he looked around, everybody in the room raised their hand wanting to give their life to Christ. Of course, that was great, but you wonder about the sincerity of those decisions. About 3 hours later, Ray is at an evening church service, and he was thrilled to see that group from the bar coming into the evening church service to hear more about Jesus Christ. All right. With that, I'd like to say that my thank you for Ray Berryman being a servant leader in my life, and he is the man that I want to be when I grow up.
The award is a beautiful bronze replica of a statue of Jesus washing the feet of Peter called the Divine Servant. The artist is Max Grenier, and the award says, to Ray and Mary Berryman for quietly and humbly taking action to advance God's kingdom by helping millions of people around the world who will never know of your kindness. We honor you and thank you this day for a life well lived in the way you serve.
Well, thank you, all of you. I appreciate you all, and I'm very thankful to be here with my dear wife. You know, we've had the privilege of serving on the Florida Family Policy Council since its inception, and it's just been a real blessing. The values that are taught here, and the policies that we want to see happen through the Florida Family Policy Council is something that we need for the state of Florida, and it's what we need for the United States of America. You know, when I first got engaged in this, as John mentioned, I was in the university, and I became an anti-communist because communism was coming across America those days back in the early 1960s. And my whole life was being changed because of that. I was challenged. I was challenged because everything that I believed in, which was a free enterprise system. I was not a Christian at that time, but I was conservative, and I could see that communism and socialism and this whole Marxist left movement was out to destroy not only the world but the United States of America. And the problem is we were being fed that doctrine, and we were believing it. And the schools, as you can see, you know, where I went to the university in California, they were just completely to the left. I mean, I was just an oddball. But as a result of that, after I graduated, and I was in despair, literally in despair, trying to figure, I was spending my time and my resources, my energy fighting against communism, and I couldn't find the answer. And it's when I did find the answer. I was at a meeting with an anti-communist rally, which had about 1,000 people, about 3 times as many as we have here. And the speaker was a United States intelligence officer of the United States Army. And he said this, he said, you can't recognize error until you first know what truth is. Then he held up a book. At that time I was an agnostic, folks. He held up this book, and he said, this book has the truth. The book he held up was the Bible. And then he explained how you could find truth and how you could have a new life in Jesus Christ. I received that new life in Jesus Christ that evening, and it changed my life forever. You know, Mary and I sold our business just 6 years ago, and Mary says, how's it feel to be retired? About 2 weeks later. And I said, you know, all my life I thought, you know, it'd be neat to retire and go do a lot of things, you know. And I looked at her and I thought, I'm not retired. I still have the same boss. He just has a new assignment. Well, that new assignment was to that new assignment was to become more involved than ever, to share the hope that I found 40-some years earlier. The hope that America needs right now. And it's not the kind of hope you heard about at the last election. The hope I'm talking about is putting our trust and our faith in Jesus Christ and then serving Him, loving God, loving people, serving God, and serving people based on the biblical principles and values that this country was founded on. And folks, this is where we need to be, and this is what this is all about. And I'm very thankful we humbly received this award. What can I say? I'm thankful, and yet I'm humbled by it because I recognize clearly, and Mary does too, that all of our talents that we have, all of the treasures or money that we have, and all of the time that we have is not ours. We gave that up 40-some years ago when we became bondservants to Jesus Christ. God bless you, and thank you, gentlemen.